Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Summer Sustainability Summit brought to you by One Click LCA. My name is Abigail Mella, and I'm happy to be your host today. The summit is a 2-day free live stream event for manufacturing, commercial, construction, and sustainability professionals who are working across the construction value chain. As a quick note, the Sustainability Summit is brought to you by One Click LCA, the global sustainability software for construction products and projects, with the mission to power the makers of a zero carbon future. You can learn more at the link that you'll see dropped in the comments now or at oneclicklca.com. Let's move on and get started with the session, Why Sustainability is Smart Business for Manufacturers. Today's event features Sorouch Kheradmand, the Vice President of Sustainability at Schneider Electric, Pascal Eveillard, Director of Sustainable Business Development at Saint-Gobain, and Panu Pasanen, CEO and founder of One Click LCA. In the comments here, you will find links to Schneider Electric's free sustainability school and also Saint-Gobain's Construction Observatory. Both of these are incredible resources for business leaders looking to decarbonize the construction value chain and make the industry more sustainable. As a quick note for all of you in the audience today, we will have a live question and answer session at the end of today's show so that you can directly ask questions to Sorouch, Pascal, and Panu. You can go ahead and start dropping your questions in the comments section now. Now let's move on to the show. Sorouch, I would like to address you first, and at length you can talk to our audience about Schneider Electric and also your work at Schneider Electric as the VP of Sustainability.
Yes, thank you, Abigail. Hi, everyone. Very happy to be here, and thank you, Pani, for the invitation. So my name is Sorouch Kheradmand. I work for Schneider Electric. You know, Schneider Electric is the global leader for energy efficiency, and sustainability is really core within our value proposition to our customers. Now, my role within Schneider Electric, and then I'll speak more in details during the talk, is actually I'm here to lead the decarbonization of our business ecosystem. And this means how we show to customers and partners alike, basically whoever we work with, the benefits of sustainability so that they want to engage in that path and drive decarbonization at scale in the market.
Okay, thank you, Sorouch. And Pascal, we will turn to you next. So you are Director of Sustainable Business Development at Saint-Gobain, and I invite you to tell the audience about Saint-Gobain and also your work there.
Yes, hello everyone. Very pleased to be with you today. So Saint-Gobain is the global leader in the manufacturing and distribution of construction products and building solutions. We are active in more than 70 countries on all continents, and we have a turnover of about 40 billion euros. Actually, we want to be the worldwide leader in sustainable and light construction. We offer our offer combines plasterboard, insulation, glazing, mortars, construction chemicals, roofing, cladding, and siding products. So we have a very broad range of different solutions. And we have decided to put sustainability at the very heart of our strategy. In Saint-Gobain, I manage a team of 20 people, cross-business at group level, and this team is active in 4 domains. First, we support our businesses, and in particular the sales and marketing teams, to develop a proper approach to sustainability on their respective markets. Second, we work on the market transformation with advocacy and public affairs activities. Third, we aim at mainstreaming sustainability in innovation, working with marketing and R&D teams. And last but not least, we work also on the quantification, typically with LCAs, EPDs, but also with the Scope 3 assessment.
And Panu, that actually leads very nicely into your intro. So please do talk about One Click LCA and your work as CEO.
Yeah, sure. So One Click LCA's mission is to power the makers of a zero carbon future. Nicely enough, the gentlemen in the show today, they are some of them. So our job is to enable the companies who want to drive sustainability forward, be it in manufacturing or in construction, to have solid data, clear measures and implementable actions, and transparency on what they do, and then tools to develop growth, so to develop new business out of it. So we develop solutions for the entire value chain for end-to-end of the projects and manufacturing business. And they are grouped into carbon, compliance, and growth, all of which you basically need to address the let's say the commercial challenges and the sustainability challenges in this field. And my work fundamentally is about scaling decarbonization worldwide and making sure it's going also to the right level of ambition. So not just going through the motions, but getting to impact and getting a bit beyond the comfortable level. So that there's a real progress in this field.
Thank you all. It's very nice to have all of you here. I would like to kick things off by asking what sustainability means for sales and marketing. I believe we have a lot of commercial actors in the audience today, and I would be very keen maybe to get your thoughts first, Sorouch, and then we can engage in conversation from there.
Sure, very happy to go first. I think what sustainability means for sales and marketing is actually quite straightforward, particularly in Europe, also in the US, Australia, Singapore. You see more and more, let's say, regulations that are coming with regards to decarbonation. You also have economic trends, which are, energy prices, raw material prices, basically cost of capital. I mean, many things that are coming. All of those make of carbon an issue for customers. And carbon and energy, actually. And carbon is not necessarily energy. But what it means, basically, is that there are emerging risks, there are emerging issues that our customers require support from. And in a sense, that's also good news, because when you have an issue a customer wants to solve, this means there is an opportunity for you to create also a business to solve it. And the way I see sustainability, really, and that's where, often when I speak with the business leaders, they see it as something that tanks their P&L. I disagree. Sustainability, if you position it well, is a way for you to innovate and address emergent customer needs, and take it as something that can basically make your business grow, and also make your business grow in the side of creating new products that answer better the needs of your customer, but also more healthy in the way it operates and being more resilient to shocks. So in a nutshell, that's how I see it. In the building space, certifications like LEED, BREEAM, you have the ERI 2020, and all of those are very tangible. Okay, it's already happening. So I'm not talking about something that is going to happen in 5-6 years. This is already starting, and we see the momentum very clearly happening. Which, to close my short argument, is to say it's not something that is abstract. Okay, it's something that is really happening today, and on which we are very intentional to, let's say, invest and address. And we've seen great responses from the market so far.
Great. So if I follow on that, so I would put it two complementary points of view there. So it's about differentiation on one hand. How are you going to be different than the next gadget? Like many people do these things because products are needed for all buildings, right, or infrastructure or such like. Most of them can be served by quite a big variety of manufacturers, and you can try to be, the cost leader. Works for a time. You're going to be dead though if there's going to be carbon taxes, because typically cost leaders also are very heavy carbon emitters. So differentiating your products to be able to actually win and develop new products which will win in the future. And the second thing is you actually have to disrupt your own portfolio and progress your own portfolio, because that's the only way you can keep market share. So it's also purely defensive. I mean, if you don't develop the sustainable products and you don't position the sustainable products, then somebody else will, and then that's going to be out of your business. And I mean, who wants that?
Yeah, I fully agree. If you allow me just to finish here, and I will give it to Pascal, the market is moving. It's those who don't address it and don't move and adapt their value proposition won't be able to address that market anymore. So it's a large trend. But just closing here.
No, Just to add, I also fully support this idea that sustainability is above all a great opportunity for sales and marketing, an opportunity to innovate and differentiate, to be a front runner on the market, to address best-in-class projects. You mentioned the certified projects, but it's also a way to anticipate and prepare for future regulations. There are more and more regulatory requirements coming in sustainability. To move one step further, I think it's an opportunity, but it's also a challenge for sales and marketing teams, because they have to address properly the different market segments. Not all market segments have the same level of expectations regarding sustainability. So they need to properly target the right market segments with the most relevant arguments. And I think it means that you need to have a well-segmented approach of your markets, taking care of the level of maturity of the customers and of their expectations. And you need to come with the relevant arguments. You will not be able to address a craftsman with the same arguments as specifiers or end users or developers. And to achieve that, I think it's key that companies will provide training, market analysis, good practice to their sales and marketing teams, and provide guidelines also to help and support those marketing teams and sales teams to properly develop and market more sustainable offers. So it's not a given, it's an opportunity, but an opportunity that deserves to be properly managed and to avoid greenwashing, to avoid misleading claims. And it means also that when you move towards more sustainable offers, you need to be able to provide your teams with robust documentations, such as EPDs, health and content declarations, product passport certification. So it's quite demanding. So it's not just I innovate, I put a new product. It's demanding in terms of marketing approach, sales approach, and documentations to back your claims.
Yeah, and there's one more thing which is worth covering here, because sometimes people think this is a tragedy of the commons type of thing, that the benefit goes to everybody, but in very many sustainability value propositions, the benefits go to the buyer. So obviously, Schneider provides products which are fundamentally affecting the comfort levels and similar things in buildings managing risks. Saint-Gobain has a lot of products to do with comfort as well. But even in more basic sustainability, like disassembly-ready products, if you buy disassembly-ready internal walls and you install them in your office, when you next need to change your floor plan, guess what? The renovation is going to take 2 weeks and not 6. And you're going to have people working 4 weeks more in your offices, and that makes a huge difference. So the sustainability value prop, it may not happen like immediately. For example, I mean, you don't change floor plan every year, but these are tangible benefits, and they come to the people who actually make those choices.
If I may, I fully support what you say, Panu. We need to agree also on a common definition regarding sustainability. Sustainability is about reducing impact, but also about reducing footprint, but also about having a positive impact. And it's not just in terms of environmental topics, it's also on the social side. So you mentioned comfort, but I think it's very key. So we need also to consider sustainability over the full spectrum of environmental topics, carbon, energy, resources, circularity, but also in terms of health, safety and well-being, all along the value chain, and with a life cycle approach.
And if I may say, some may think that the exercise is quite difficult and a bit overwhelming. So indeed, there needs to be a bit of, let's say, acumen built to really understand the essence of, what a life cycle is, what's an EPD, and how you can pitch it. But after that first step effort, and if you sit with your teams and you really start thinking about what are the customer issues, what they have, and now actually, for instance, an exercise we did was to look at the UN SDG goals, and just thinking what are the issues that our customers have, and which of those goals can we support, whether directly to our customers or by answering to our customers. And this just expands the framework of, let's say, brainstorming innovation you can have. And I would say it's basically, the process is not necessarily completely different from doing standard innovation or business. It's just an additional dimension you put there, and that dimension is increasing in importance, and addressing it from now makes sense. But just like to add to what my colleague said, I fully agree. It's something you also need to take consciously, because it's very important to not also do it in a rush, because from the moment you greenwash, you also face huge risks. So there needs to be that level of consciousness. But if you address it properly by having those experts and having the right data, it's not something that is hard to let's say, bypass, as long as you're a bit careful and mindful, just like financial and legal matters. Those are quite similar.
What would be interesting to that, maybe, because you both are obviously exposed to a lot of markets, and sometimes your competitors may be greenwashing a little bit or maybe a little bit more. So how do you deal with that without it backfiring on you? Because we need to also have a healthy marketplace.
You want to go first, Pascal, or I go?
I can go. Clearly, so first, in Saint-Gobain, we have defined guidelines for our sales and marketing teams on how to properly communicate. So I think as a leader, we need to lead by example. So the first thing to do is to be exemplary when it comes to as much as we can in terms of communication. We need to show the way forward. So clearly, when we have some claims, we need to come with robust proofs behind, third-party verified proofs, and this is what we try to do, just to show to the market what should be done in terms of good communication on sustainability. Then, when we have some competitors making greenwashing, for sure it's not very pleasant. And what we do usually is to interact with them. So we have a proactive approach to those competitors. We engage a discussion, so to try and convince them to improve their communication. We can do it directly, but usually what we try and do is to act through the trade association. So to have not just single companies thinking in the right direction, but we try to manage sectors, businesses to act in the same way. So I think it's a matter of education, it's a matter of good practice, and we all have to learn together. So it's a good area for collaboration between companies. I guess during this roundtable, we will have many times the opportunity to say that collaboration is needed. When it comes to communication, I think collaboration is key. We need to learn from each other, and we need to valorize good practices, and we need to react to bad ones.
Yeah, I fully agree, and Pascal gave a lot of good elements here. I think greenwashing, you have two types of greenwashing. You have conscious greenwashing, and you have just, let's say, some negligence at some point of the process, which gives a sort of greenwashing, but the line is maybe a bit more blurred. And I think we need to differentiate both. I think in the let's say the conscious greenwashing is something that is quite dangerous. Okay, and honestly, trading on that path offers very few benefits for a short time, for a high risk of a backlash. And honestly, there is no business sense going there. At least that's my belief. Now, when it comes to, let's say, being more rigorous and being super clear about, let's say, the sustainability claims that you make, what you see is that when the devil is in the details, everyone has slightly different methodologies to do. And you have still some tweaks. The market is still stabilizing. Regulations are still stabilizing. It's not super clear. For instance, circularity, which we're looking at, doesn't have a clear definition of what is circular or not. Okay, in terms of regulations. And as Pascal said, I would say there is one of my mentors who said I would rather have greenwashing than green stalling. Meaning, I'm talking about the light greenwashing, not the conscious hardcore one. But it's true. It's true in a sense that we want to go there and we need to explore. We're actually trendsetters in that market. We want to go there, try, work collaboratively, as Pascal said. At the same time, we might do mistakes. And my take is that being transparent and being open is the best way to protect yourself against whatever might go wrong in what goes. Which doesn't mean you're fully protected, but you come with integrity, honesty, and you're open about what you do, right? And taking this approach, you'll see that since everyone is learning, actually, once you come in an open and collaborative way, usually people will want also to collaborate with you, learn from you, work with you, and test with you. So that's as far as I'm concerned, this is what we're seeing so far in the market, wherever you are. Now, depending on geographies, some geographies like Europe and the US are much more mature. Asia is of a different blend. So you need to take all of that with a sort of, let's say, local lens. You won't do Susmiti the same way you do it in Indonesia than you do it, for instance, in France. But we are lucky that since we have that global footprint, and I think it's the same for Saint-Gobain, we are learning from the stricter markets, and we can actually, already come with a sort of a maturity and edge to also educate the other markets. So all of that also plays through, right? You might struggle a lot in a geography, but that might build you an advantage for another one, right? And all of that is to be also taken into account.
Very powerfully said. Thank you.
No, I fully agree. I like to say that sustainability is the journey. So we are continuously learning when working on sustainability, and it's true that many concepts are not yet fully stabilized. Take, for instance, recycled content. Even if there is an ISO standard, there are still some discussions on what should be considered inside recycled content or not. So it's still moving, but and that's why it's important to define standards and to collaborate to be able to achieve common definitions of the terms. And yes, some regions are more advanced, and we can build from the European or US or North American experience to accelerate things in other parts of the world.
Let's move from the commercial side of the business to another area of business, which is how, or rather, what sustainability means for operations and also capital investments. And I believe I passed to Sorouch first last time. So Pascal, I'll pass to you first for this prompt.
Okay. Well, I think that for operations, it's a real challenge. So first, it means that they have to properly assess where they stand. They need to have a good knowledge and a good understanding of their environmental impacts, of their consumptions, of their waste generation, of their emissions. So there is a first challenge, which is about data, quality data. It's key to be able to collect quality data on your performances, sustainable performances. Second, once you have this good understanding, you can properly plan your investment. So you will not transform processes overnight. What is at stake very often are huge capex, huge investments to be made to transform, especially for us as we have energy intensive processes. We can't transform all our plants within a month. So we need to properly plan our investments to best decarbonize our processes. So we need to have a good vision of the steps to decarbonize from the starting point and what we want to achieve. And we need to identify early what is needed, what solutions are already available and accessible, and what will require additional R&D investments or R&D projects. And to be able to define such plans, such roadmaps, because it's very much about developing roadmaps for the different manufacturing sites. We need to have, I think, a dual approach. It should be made bottom up, so with people at site level being involved, thinking of how they plan to improve their single plants. But at the same time, you need also to have a top-down approach, because from the top, you may have a different view on the speed, the ambition, and even the solutions that exist. So the overview of all the possibilities can come from the top. So this, I very much believe that combining the bottom-up and the top-down approach can be very fruitful. And last but not least, transforming your businesses in operations means that you need to secure your access to some strategic resources. Just to name two, recycled materials that are becoming more and more critical, as well as low carbon energies. So everybody is rushing for more recycled materials, for more low carbon energies. They still are in limited quantities and of very variable quality. So this is also a challenge that we have as manufacturers, but it's a collective challenge, because to have more low carbon energies, to have more recycled content, we need to develop ecosystems at a local level to provide those required resources. So it's many challenges.
We just put 500,000 in new wind power building, so I'm not sure if it's going to solve whole your problem, but at least a small way there. Anyway, I mean, yeah, I agree with Pascal. But so if we look at this from another operations perspective, so operations people are often very, what you say, traditional. So they look at things the way they are usually done, because the work approach and the way things are done can be quite what you call repetitive in nature. So what can be quite important is looking at the materials efficiency potentially in a new way. And well, Pascal referred here to the operations inside a company. There's also the operations of the customer. And in manufacturing, there's a lot of loss happening in the distribution. And how can you deal with take back and remanufacturing and all that kind of thing? That can be actually a very big thing. And because if nobody else sells you the recycled materials, maybe you can actually deal with that problem yourself in your own value chain. That's one opportunity. But maybe elevating to another level then, and obviously while One-Click LCA is not listed as these gentlemen here, we don't have this kind of capital market exposure. But if you need to invest significant quantities to build new operations up, I mean, you're taking very significant risks. I mean, any investment worth making in manufacturing industry has to last over, 7 political cycles in the countries where you have elections. So if you have 7 political cycles to ride, there's a very strong chance that at least more than half of them are going to be with, party who wants to tax carbon in power. And if you are taking that risk and not doing your sums with consideration of what risk you're actually taking there, there's a pretty decent chance that you're burning the investors' money.
Yeah, I mean, if I jump on what you're saying, Panu, and what Pascal said, when we talk with customers, and it's something we're seeing now consistently across large projects, becoming more and more consistent in mid-sized projects. And I think this is spreading geographically as we see. As reporting initiatives are starting to happen, you need to report your carbon footprint, carbon cost also is rising, all of those things. And basically, when you invest, you need also to account for the carbon intensity of your investment. So the carbon intensity can be embodied carbon on the CapEx side. Carbon intensity can be on your energy consumption efficiency on the OpEx side. And all of those are risks and costs. And they just come on top of financial indicators to make choices. I was in front of a project where the design consultant working on it was just doing a cost analysis, and in parallel to the cost analysis, doing a carbon intensity analysis, meaning he was no longer looking just at the cost of the components, but looking also at their carbon intensity to find the right ratio to minimize both, actually. And I think this is just, illustrating the type of decision-making mechanism will tend more and more to go after, which is that carbon is increasingly becoming a decision mechanism on the CapEx side also. On energy efficiency is also increasingly becoming a decision factor on the OpEx side, because you want to evaluate the performance of your assets through time and also its future readiness, its resilience, and so on. So investors will more and more look into those elements. And what Pascal described, which is basically, correct me if I'm wrong, Pascal, but the internal transformation of Saint-Gobain and how, they work through it, is something that we'll see more and more other companies, smaller and smaller in size, doing? And it kind of links back to our first item. It's how basically you as a company start positioning yourself in a way where you can also start addressing those emergent customer needs, or also preparing yourself to do so for the reasons that Pascal also explained. Be ready, be able to report, also be able to operate more efficiently, mitigate incoming risks with energy prices, raw materials, supplier resiliency, etc., etc. So all of those means that sustainability is no longer, let's say, a separate issue from financial decisions, strategy, and so on. As we go, it's going to be more and more an integral part of any of those verticals. And I personally believe that sustainability is not an ad hoc topic. It's not something that is separate. You need to have expertise, okay, but you need to work across the functions, and customers are already doing so, as I said, and that's a way also to look at it.
Maybe just to add to what has just been said. In Saint-Gobain, we have an internal carbon price. So, because I think one of the questions sometimes is when you have the choice between two investments, which one should you favor? Do you favor a short-term payback? Do you favor a decarbonization target? So to help decision making when you have such alternatives, we have developed since many years. So we started in 2015 with an internal carbon price. And for all investments, so if CapEx, if R&D projects, we have such an internal carbon price that we incorporate into our P&A calculations. And it gives a very different pictures to the different investment options you have. And it helps to drive the decisions towards those investments that will pay back in the end in terms of decarbonization in this case. But it's a really powerful tool. So we need to exit business as usual decision-making processes that can only lead to short-term views. We need to be able to integrate a mid and long-term perspective through such tools as internal carbon prices, and there are other tools. But it's very key to escape the traditional way of addressing projects.
Panu, what are blockers to sustainable supply chain transformation?
So if I give a brief answer for a change, so it's data, right? So we are in long value chains and fragmented value chains, and not all the value chain players serve only one vertical. So maybe they work for automotive and other industries besides, for example, construction. So they don't have data in a compatible form or not in a comprehensive form. And that makes it difficult for actually buyers and those who build up on the products to actually get good view of what is my entire supply chain doing in a robust data-driven manner.
Yeah, I mean, I actually, my role actually plays not only in supply chain, but value chain decarbonation. And I'm also actually going after our customers and the companies that serve our customers to see how they can decarbonize themselves and our end customers. And, I think the struggle that we see is as soon as you target supply chain, value chain, you stop talking just to the large groups who can have chief sustainability officers who have, significant resources and can take the, let's say, burden of investing in that and, taking a bet and saying, hey, we are going to do it and we are going to show it. The good news, however, and that's also part of the work I'm doing. So again, I have a quite precise view of it, is that you have now a variety of, let's say, resources, whether it is learning, whether it is tools that help you to do some assessments and so on, whether it is also tools that help you report once you have done your assessment. And as you see, there is an explosion in terms of offers that reduce the barrier to entry to go after that. And when I say reduce the barrier to entry, meaning the accessibility to the knowledge, the accessibility to the tools, and for the CEO of a small company to also understand how we can take on that journey in a way that is align with the way he operates and that can be profitable for him. And my goal is really, and that's something I'm very passionate about, is to show that you can, even if you're a small company, by having data, and it can be directional data to start. You don't need to have, super precise data, but to start, it can be directional quality data, meaning just good enough data to be able to understand which way you should start to focus. And once you focus and you go intentionally after actions that have the largest impact on your carbon footprint and your cost base and basically the criteria that you choose, you can start your decarbonization regardless of your size. Okay, regardless of your size, company size, business size, etc. Now, of course, the smaller you are, the more limited your actions will be, but the framework is still applicable. And for companies, we work with quite a lot of companies to help them with their supply chain decarbonization. And the steps that we do is really actually provide what I just explained, which is to help them map their supply chain, help them get some, directional data on which are the suppliers or let's say the customers that they should actually suppliers on mostly, which is the focus today. Look at, which ones they should go after first and how they help them, they educate them, they reassure them on the fact of saying, hey, we're going to help you go there. We're going to show you that there is a way actually to walk through decarbonization in a way that is profitable for you and helping them get in there. Okay. And what I think that you have an effort that is driven by large companies, but I'm also very intentional about making sure that even if you're not driven by a large company that is asking you to report or drive that decarbonization, the CEO of a SME should be able to take that decision himself and have the tools to take that decision consciously, and it should make business sense for him. And I strongly believe this is the case for a variety of reasons, and energy prices are something that we're quite, involved in. And those are some of the tools we're providing. So, Abigail was kindly explaining that we have a sustainability school. The sustainability school is actually meant for that. It's resources that we give for free to anyone who wants to access, to understand first what sustainability and decarbonization are about, and understand what are the steps they can take to embark on that journey. And we've seen that actually there is remarkable answers from the market in getting that content, and that links back again to sales and the marketing piece. Okay, once you are actually helping people solve their issues, you also position yourself in a way that makes it something that increases your branding, increasing your positioning, increases also your competitiveness, and also a variety of other things such as employee engagement and so on. So I'm diverging a bit, but I hope I was clear.
Pascal, following up, tell us, what is the business case for sustainability for manufacturing?
Just I will answer your question, but just to what was said, it's clear that collaboration is key. So if we want to have value chains moving, not only the leaders of big companies, but everyone along the value chain, we see that it's key that we have collaboration across the entire value chain, and that our customer supplier relationship will be nurtured with knowledge, with some training, some facts. So we need to bring up the level of understanding of everybody along the value chain. So which means that you as a customer, you need to know what you need. You need to know where you stand, what is making your impact, and typically taking scope 3, for instance, which is very much made by what you buy from your suppliers. You need to know what is your scope 3 made of before going to your suppliers and asking for efforts. So you need to drive the efforts of your suppliers by knowing what contribution they have to your own impacts. And then you need to help them to develop their own knowledge, especially if it is an SME, and you need to bring them to the same path as you in terms of developing LCAs, developing robust data to support your business, but also first of all to support their own business. When it comes, and I will answer your question now, when it comes to a business case, I think first there is a cost of not acting. Typically, and for us, as I said before, we are energy-intensive industries for many of our businesses. Take ETS in Europe, the emission trading schemes, which is going to be tighter and tighter. if we do not act, if we do not decarbonize our processes, the costs will be huge. There will be a direct cost. So we will have to pay for carbon credits, and it will clearly better to invest than to pay for those credits. Second, if you are not acting now, you will lose market share later. So the business case is clearly to make business today. So as we said during the first question, there is already business to be made, but there will be even more in the future. And the sooner you start, the better position you will be to grasp all the opportunities that will come on the market. And for those who are starting earlier, I would say there is also a possibility to have a price premium. So if you start early, if you innovate in a significant matter, you will have customers that will accept to pay a bit more for better products, for better solutions. And I think it's key to benefit from that. It can help you to accelerate your own transformation because you will have possibly better margins on your products. So starting early, clearly, not only will avoid costs, but will possibly even increase margins.
Yeah, and if I add that, so to simplify this, especially for the SMEs, so it's very simple. You will sell more of your sustainable products. That's it. Yeah. I mean, do you like that? Do it. You don't care? I mean, let others do it. They will sell their products. I mean, they will be selling them, right? I mean, market wants it. And then the question of the cost, right? So sustainability data used to be really tricky, used to be the domain of experts. But, well, I mean, we definitely invest a great deal in making it possible to get, I mean, actually, I think we have one of our customers just reported that they had done closer to 50 EPDs in the spring from a cold start by an office assistant. Like it's a bit different than a PhD in LCA. I know Pascal has a guy in his team who has a PhD in LCA, and that's fine for Saint-Gobain, but I mean, SMEs can't do that, right? And we need to bring down the time, we need to bring down the cost, we need to bring down the exclusivity, and there, of course, software is key, and that's our contribution here. So we can go from months to get to environmental product declaration to days.
And I agree. I mean, the way I see it is, as you said, the complexity of and the barrier to entry into considering sustainability as part of your operations, your value proposition is decreasing. And One Click LC is also one of those, is representing that, right? It's a tool that simplifies that complexity and also represents a market opportunity. Now, the way I see it for manufacturing, as Pascal said, it depends what you're manufacturing, of course. And looking at what you manufacture, whether in energy intensive or not, usually what you see is that utility cost, meaning energy consumption, looking at sustainability, looking at the way to decrease your consumption is a healthy way to look at how you decrease your operating costs. And the second piece, which was said, is also future readiness. Okay, the moment a customer, even if you're a smaller company, relatively, will come to you say, "Hey, I need to have your carbon footprint. I need to understand where you're at. I understand what you do in regard to decarbonation, etc." This just means that you're gonna need to take on an investment to go there. Anticipating it, doing it at your pace, doing it in a more conscious way, is just a healthy way to anticipate that and maintain your license to operate. Okay. And I think if you take sustainability, just like AI, just like digital, you don't do it for the sake of doing it. You do it because there is something out of it for yourself. So it means you need to understand the topic. You need to get, the understanding of where you stand in terms of energy or carbon intensity, and intentionally go after the low-hanging fruits, where you have the maximal incomes, and build that capability, build that knowledge, and that, I would say, hygiene within your company to address that, just as you're addressing other topics. And this can also expand to other type of services or let's say, business models. One that is coming to my mind is, for instance, circularity. In some products, right? In some type of products and components, going for circularity is actually what you'll see makes a lot of sense for your customers, for your operations, because you're selling, high capex products, and again, linking your business and your business models, the products you do, with the needs of your customers, and looking at sustainability and how it can come into the play will just open up a lot of perspectives for you to explore, deliver value in the way you will decrease your cost and your footprint, and deliver value in the way you're answering to your customer needs. Sometimes, even selling, we've seen, for instance, in France, that our circular products are selling as expensive as a new one sometimes, or even more, because you have shortages. I mean, market dynamics can also influence all of that, right? And we've had very good surprises in the way we've seen we've managed circularity, for instance, or energy efficiency in some of our markets.
And sometimes, it's not very often the case, but sometimes if you have to replace certain things in your factory, well, you always have to replace certain things in your factories or in your processes, but sometimes also reconsidering the whole thing, like reconsidering your capital program from a sustainability point of view could actually lead to capital savings, because some technologies will be such that you actually will not have good economics out of them in 2 years or 3 years, right? So, for example, in Europe, we know that we will have a carbon border adjustment mechanism factored in prices in 2 years, right? And when you know that this stuff is going to be so much more expensive, you actually want to be really careful about what dependency you have on such supplies. And if you can find alternatives to this kind of solutions, if you don't have to do them all right now, you can actually be on a net capex savings as a manufacturer.
Let's move on to our top 3 takeaways. It seems like Pascal's unfortunately had some tech issues, and we'll just kind of go on with the show. So Sorouch will pass takeaways number 1 and 2 to you, and then Panu, you can close it out with number 3.
Sure. So I think, first, it was really a pleasure hearing, different perspectives from the different speakers here. I think the point is quite clear that the market is moving to take more and more sustainability and carbon, actually, and carbon is really the leading element of ESG, if I may say, in today's market. You will have also more and more in the future resources, water usage, biodiversity, and so on, but carbon is already becoming on the verge of becoming really mature. And this means for you that there are emergent customer needs in terms of understanding what it means for them, in terms of helping them solve their issues, in terms of driving the value and helping them in their roadmap. And this as such means that with that, let's say, challenge lies an opportunity. And for the business that are, let's say, if I may say, willing to take that first mover advantage, there is actually a whole market that is waiting. Okay. So that's for number 1. For number 2, how decarbonization can help drive profits, I see 2 ways. Whether it is in the way you make your operations leaner, more resilient, more efficient, and how you reduce your cost base and mechanically increase your profits, but also when you address new issues and you address new, let's say, challenges, where, let's say, there is a lack of understanding or a lack of competency, which is what we see across the decarbonization market, you also have an opportunity to price yourself in a way that can also help you differentiate and reflects in the pricing, and hence helps you drive also better profits. So sustainability can help you win market share, can help you increase your pricing power, can also help you increase your cost base. Again, provided you look at it in a data-driven way, and you look at how you basically take your decisions in a way that maximize impact both on carbon and cost base, and maximize the issues that you're trying, basically the value that you're bringing also to your customers. And I see really both dimensions to sustainability.
Excellent. So, and then on the data and collaboration, so yeah, like really 3 things, right? So tell your customers what's true, like this much better. You can choose this, but it's going to be, providing you different impacts. So you can actually differentiate, you can market, and you will not be caught pants down. Number 2, know what you're doing in your shop, so you can actually make better decisions about how to improve your operations, where not to invest, which products to upgrade to more sustainable ones, and so on and so on. And obviously, very long, value chains. So we need to have collaboration, and part of the collaboration is based on data, but much of the collaboration is also in how to revise processes and such like, so that you actually are able to move towards, for example, circular value chains.
Thank you all. Sorouch, any final words?
No, I mean, to the point of Panu, again, I think we acknowledge very strongly in Schneider that we don't have all the answers. We also acknowledge that you have a lot of players that have part of the answer, and hence coming to that collaboration piece. Again, don't try to build everything from scratch. Most likely, you already have smart people like those of One Click LCA or other companies that have already started looking into the problem, and you can inspire yourself from what they've done, or take that as a shortcut for your own journey. So hence, yes, I really believe ESG collaboration is key. And you'll excuse me if this is a bit, let's say, idealistic, but I even think that collaboration is a must in our space. To go fast enough to tackle the climate crisis that is coming and help our economies also be resilient in that matter, we need to go faster. And time is for more collaboration and less competition, and that's something I'm very intentional on my end.
Hey, before we move on, I would like to let everyone in the audience know about One Click LCA's Environmental Product Declaration, or EPD software for manufacturers. Like we've been discussing, EPDs can help your products get specified and purchased for construction projects. And with the One Click LCA EPD generator, there are options for global, regional, and local business needs, so you can quickly and easily execute your EPD generation process. Like Sorouch and Pascal and Panu have been talking about, when a business owner or a commercial operator can demonstrate their product's environmental impact with an EPD, they can stay competitive in a market that is increasingly demanding sustainability. So you'll see a quick poll popping up, and you can click yes if you're interested in getting advice on generating EPDs for your products. We have a team of manufacturing product experts that are happy to consult with you and help you understand how to differentiate your products in the market and win more business with EPDs. I will say that, unfortunately, due to time, we're not able to have a live Q&A, so I will provide a few more announcements before we close out the session. You can apply for the One Click LCA Low Carbon Manufacturing Awards now. The awards are a chance to celebrate sustainable practices and low carbon solutions in manufacturing, and it's open to manufacturers of all sizes across all industries. So with this contest, you can gain global visibility through extensive media exposure, benchmark your product against peers and competitors, and win more business.
So Sorouch, take a photo.
Yeah, I'm
and the QR code. Next, I will tell you about our free online training and certification program. Just like Saint-Gobain and also Schneider Electric offer programs for free programs to educate the market, we do as well. We have a commitment to train 1 million low carbon experts by the year 2025 in order to drive decarbonization at scale. We all have to know a bit more about this space in order to make an impact from the desk or computer where we're all working. So with Academy, you can access hundreds of hours of on-demand classes. We also happen to have an EPD bootcamp coming up. So if you scan the QR code or visit academy.oneclicklca.com, you can learn more about that. And do stay tuned. We have our next and final session of the summit. We've had 15 sessions over the past 2 days, and we are very proud to host Can-Am CEO Marc Dutil from Canada, and he's going to talk about driving sustainable steel manufacturing through circularity. This is something you don't want to miss. Finally, I'll say contact us, visit oneclicklca.com, check out our LinkedIn community. We have over 40,000 people connecting and sharing, or visit our YouTube, where you can actually access all kinds of rich educational content. And with that, I would just love to thank you, Sorouch, for joining. Thank you, Panu, for joining. Pascal, you are with us in spirit, though not due to technical difficulties here. And if you have any final words, you're welcome to share.
Thanks a lot for my part.
Thanks a lot also for having me here. I'm very passionate in showing that sustainability can have a positive ROI business case, and it's the way it should be. And I would say to all the audience, because I see there are some questions in the chat of people wanting to learn more and share, you can find me on LinkedIn. I promise I'll make my best to answer to your questions and reach out. And really strong believer in collaboration. And I think this is the beauty of our work and our community. We have an opportunity to make the economy more resilient, but also embedding sustainability as such. And that's why the business community is so much needed to be involved in that specific topic. So we have a role to reconcile both topics, which sometimes people see are conflicting. I believe it's not the case. And I hope, and I look forward to showing it, with you, Panu, but also everyone that was here with us around the call.
Great.
Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.